The scream tore across the quiet farmland like a knife through still air. Birds scattered from the old oak tree by the barn, the sound of their wings lost in the chaos of a teenage girl crumpling into the dirt, her books scattering across the dusty road. She was small, fragile-looking, with freckles dusting her pale cheeks, and her twin sister's voice rang out as she sprinted toward her. The bullies had cornered them after school again, but this time they had gone further, shoving one twin so hard that her knees scraped against the gravel, blood running down her shins. Their cruel laughter echoed as if the wide sky itself was mocking her. The farm that had always been their sanctuary seemed miles away, even though the faded red barn stood just beyond the fence line. Before we go further into this powerful and emotional story, I want to pause for a moment and say, if you believe in kindness and second chances and in standing up for those who cannot always fight for themselves, please like this video, share it with others, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to our channel Kindness Echoes, because stories like these remind us that even in the darkest moments, love and courage can shine brighter than cruelty. The twins were named Clara and Rose Whitmore. 16 years old, they had grown up on their family's small farm, helping their father mend fences, feeding chickens before dawn, and carrying baskets of apples in the harvest season. Clara, the older by 2 minutes, was quieter, her voice often soft, her smile shy but warm. Rose, though identical in face and build, carried herself differently, with fire in her hazel eyes and a boldness that made her seem taller than she really was. They were inseparable, bound not just by blood, but by the kind of bond that comes from facing life's struggles together. The bullies at school, however, saw them as targets. Their plain farm clothes, their calloused hands, and the way they sometimes smelled faintly of hay after chores made them stand out in a world obsessed with brands and perfection. Clara, with her gentle spirit, bore the brunt of it. Rose tried to shield her, but cruelty has a way of finding cracks. That afternoon, when Clara was shoved into the dirt road, her books spilling open with pages fluttering in the breeze, something inside Rose snapped. She rushed to her sister's side, helped her to her feet, and glared at the bullies with a rage that silenced their laughter for the first time. The struggle did not end there. Days turned into weeks, and the bullying grew worse. Clara began to withdraw, her laughter fading, her shoulders hunching as though she wanted to disappear. She would sit silently at dinner, pushing food around her plate while her father, worn from tending the farm, tried to cheer her up with clumsy jokes. Rose saw it all, the way her sister's light dimmed, the way tears stained her pillow at night when she thought no one heard. Rose's heart ached with helplessness, but beneath the ache, a storm of determination grew. She would not let her sister break. One evening, as the golden light of the day stretched across the fields, Rose took Clara's hand and led her to the barn. Dust motes danced in the shafts of sunlight that cut through the wooden slats. In the quiet, Rose revealed her plan. She had been secretly training, lifting hay bales, practicing runs across the fields and shadowboxing when no one was watching. She had turned her daily farm chores into a silent preparation for the moment she knew would come. The day she would stand up to the bullies and make them realize that the Whitmore twins were not weak. Clara's eyes widened, unsure at first, but when Rose held her gaze, the spark of hope flickered in her. The next morning, the sisters woke earlier than ever. Instead of chickens and cows, they focused on themselves. Rose taught Clara how to hold her fists, how to plant her feet, how to move with balance. Their father watched from the porch, puzzled but saying nothing, as the two of them ran laps around the pasture, their laughter mixing with heavy breaths. Rose encouraged Clara at every stumble, lifting her back up, reminding her that strength was already inside her waiting to be claimed. Slowly, Clara began to change. Her shoulders straightened, her gaze steadied, and even though fear still lingered, there was steel beginning to form beneath it. The day of reckoning came on a bright afternoon when the bullies once again tried to corner the twins behind the schoolyard. The group sneered, circling them, expecting Clara to cower and Rose to glare uselessly. But the sisters stood side by side, no longer shrinking back. When one of the bullies reached out to shove Clara again, Rose stepped forward, blocking the hand with a sharp, practiced movement. The crowd of onlookers gasped. Rose's voice rang out, calm but fierce, telling them this was the last time they would ever lay a hand on her sister. The bullies laughed, but this time it wasn't the confident laugh of predators. It was nervous, uncertain. Rose moved like the storm she had prepared to be, defending Clara with swift, precise actions that left the bullies stumbling backward in shock. She did not strike to injure, only to stop them, to prove that they were not the weak farm girls everyone thought they were. Clara, trembling at first, found her courage and stood taller, no longer hiding behind her twin but holding her ground with her chin lifted. Together, they became unshakable, their unity louder than any blow. Word spread quickly through the school. The Whitmore twins, once mocked, had stood up and turned the tables. It wasn't just about strength, it was about dignity. Students who had once looked away began to admire them, some even apologizing quietly in hallways for not standing with them sooner. Clara slowly blossomed again, her laughter returning, her steps lighter. Rose remained her fiery protector, but now she saw her sister growing into her own power, and nothing filled her with more pride. On the farm, life carried on, but with a difference. The girl's father noticed how Clara's eyes shone again, how she sang softly while carrying feed buckets, how she no longer slouched as if the world was too heavy. Rose, too, seemed calmer, her fire now tempered with satisfaction. Their bond deepened, forged not just in the quiet moments of feeding animals or walking home under wide skies, but in the trial they had faced together and overcome. Months later, the same bullies who had once made them feel small sat in silence as the twins won a school award for leadership and resilience. Clara, holding the certificate with shaking hands, looked out into the crowd and found her sister's eyes. She knew that without Rose, she might have broken completely. And Rose knew that everything she had done was not for glory but for love. The fierce love of a sister who refused to let cruelty steal what was precious. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you of the importance of standing up for love, for kindness, and for those who cannot always fight alone, please take a moment to like this video, share it with your friends and family, and subscribe to Kindness Echoes. Together, we can spread stories that remind us of the courage hidden in everyday lives. And before we end, here's a special request. Comment below with the words, "Stand together," if you believe that love and unity are stronger than cruelty and hate, because the story of Clara and Rose Whitmore isn't just about two farm girls. It's about every person who has ever been underestimated, hurt, or mocked. It's about the power of standing tall side by side until the bullies of life have no choice but to back down.